Mr. President, Mr. Exxon is here to see you.
Thank you. Please show him in. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, Mr. President.
I appreciate your taking the time to meet on such short notice.
It's always an honor to be asked to meet with the President.
Even one you probably didn't vote for?
I'll plead the fifth, if I may.
Most assuredly. Well, let me get to the reason I asked for this meeting. It relates to climate change, as I'm sure you expected, and Exxon's role in regards to that.
I see.
First, let me assure you, I'm not looking back, I'm only looking forward.
Okay.
I believe climate change, global warming, whatever we call it, poses an existential threat to the survival of society as we know it. We're fast approaching a point where there'll be nothing we can do to stop it.
Uh-huh.
Some refer to me as an alarmist.
You've been ringing the alarm bell, that's for sure.
Well, at this point, it's a bell that cannot be overrun. Fortunately, we have a potential solution within our technological means, that of switching to renewable energy with all possible haste. In order to facilitate that switch, however, Exxon must drastically reduce its oil production, starting quite soon, in fact.
If we stop producing oil, other companies will simply produce more oil to make up the shortage, and Exxon stockholders would have me removed as the CEO.
If all that happened was that Exxon produced less oil, then I agree. And yes, your stockholders would have you removed. But hear me out. What if you were to announce that, based on your current understanding of the climate crisis, it was necessary for the world to transition to renewable energy with all possible speed, and that Exxon, with the full support and collaboration of the United States government, was going to take the lead in facilitating that effort by sharply reducing its output of oil?
Again, other companies would simply produce more, and my stockholders would have me removed for costing the company billions in profits.
Yes, but what if the United States government were to guarantee that over, let's say, the next 10 years, Exxon would realize the same profit it would have earned had it continued productions at the normal level?
How can you do that?
First, over the course of the next year, we raised the price of gasoline to a level that is sufficient to make renewable energy extremely attractive.
The public will scream, then you'll be removed.
They'll scream all the way to the bank to cash their subsidy checks.
I don't know if the United States government can afford that.
Have you ever calculated how many people will die if we don't fix global warming?
Of course not. Who can know?
Well, the Pentagon can know. It's their job to know these things, and they have studied it thoroughly. Their estimate is in the billions. Simply put, the United States cannot afford to not fix global warming. I hold the most powerful political office in the world, in the most economically and militarily powerful country in the world. But you know what? You have more power to end the global warming crisis than I do.
I don't know if that's true.
It is true. Do you know how many people Hitler was responsible for killing?
Not offhand, and I don't like where this is going.
It was about 10 million. He is considered by history to be a genocidal maniac.
With all due respect, Mr. President, this seems like a sophomoric attempt to lay a guilt trip on me, and I don't appreciate it.
I didn't expect that you would, and I apologize that my attempt to adjust your perspective on what's at stake isn't more sophisticated. But let me assure you, I'm not being overly dramatic, not in the least. You have the power to affect the lives of billions, to possibly save the very structure of the society upon which their survival depends. My analogy, as it were, is somewhat flawed. Hitler intentionally killed those 10 million people. I know you have no desire to kill anyone, but having the power you do comes with a moral imperative. Now, more than that, a societal responsibility to act, to do all that you can. If a parent were to allow a child to starve while they continue to eat comfortably, don't you think that parent would be considered to have effectively killed that child?
I understand your analogy, but I, again, with all due respect, must object and disagree with this line of conversation. To place the blame for the effects of global warming entirely on my shoulders is an extreme exaggeration, and I find this offensive.
Recall what I said earlier. I'm looking forward, not back. If I were looking back, it would be manifestly unfair to place all the blame on you. I've driven a gas-powered vehicle all my life, knowing the emissions were foul in the environment. Every person on Earth who partakes in our society and enjoys even the slightest benefit of fossil fuel technology shares in the blame. I'm looking forward. I'm asking you at this moment to align yourself with me and make every possible effort at whatever cost to fight this fight. You can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. But together we have a chance. I will use all the economic and, if necessary, military might of this nation to bring every oil company and every nation into line into supporting this effort. It won't be easy. It might even fail, but honestly, given our respective positions, to do anything less would be a crime against humanity.
So you guarantee our net profit?
Yes.
And the price of gas will go up, but be offset to the consumer by subsidies?
Yes, but decreasing subsidies on fossil fuels coupled with subsidies for purchasing renewable energy transportation vehicles.
It will be expensive.
Well,
I know. And what about other companies and nations?
we use both a carrot and a stick. We'll offer similar economic incentives as we have discussed, along with bringing to bear whatever economic pressure is necessary. And of course, they'll be portrayed in the worst possible light if they don't fall in line. Once the tide turns, once they see they don't have an alternative, they'll come on board.
You hope.
Believe me, I won't just sit around hoping. The pressure will be tremendous.
If it's anything like I felt today, I agree. So, what do we do next?
Draft an announcement, send it over. I'll draft one as well and get it to you as well. I don't need to be the hero here. I want this to look like a mutual meeting of minds and intent. I want it clear that this isn't just a proposal for action. This is what we are going to do. It won't be up for discussion. It won't be up for discussion.
Wow. Honey,
What? What's wrong?
I just had a dream that I was President of the United States, and I solved the global warming crisis.
That's great. Now let me go back to sleep. I have a big day ahead.
But hey, this is big. I think I really have come up with a solution.
I'm sure it's going to be great, and you're going to be famous, and I want to hear all about it, but at breakfast, okay? Right now, I want to go back to sleep.
But hey, I have to tell you now. I mean, what if I forget?
Okay. Can you keep it brief, please?
Sure, it's simple. Exxon doesn't want to pollute. They just want to make money. So we pay Exxon to not produce oil, just like how we pay the farmers to not grow crops.
That sounds great. Good night.
It's like eminent domain in a sense.
Have you been reading those trashy novels again?
No, not eminent dom, eminent domain. Although that does sound interesting.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, whatever. Go back to sleep.
But honey, I've come up with a solution to the world's greatest crisis, and you're not even impressed.
Sorry. I'm tired. And you have had great ideas at 3:30 in the morning, and 3 hours later they didn't seem so great. If this is really a great idea, it will sound great in 3 hours, and I will be very impressed, I promise.
All right. Well, don't you think an idea this great calls for a little reward?
Huh?
You know, a little gesture of appreciation? You know, something to help me fall back to sleep?
No. You are a nasty man. You could only be president in your dreams.
Well, I don't know. We've had some pretty nasty presidents.
You're right. Second thought, you would make a great president. Now, go to sleep, Mr. President, or you will have a cranky first lady. And you don't want that now, do you?
No, sleep well, dear.
And with the collaboration of ExxonMobil, we will turn the tide. We will beat global warming. Beat global warming. Beat global warming.